Let's quickly talk about TurboTax. A lot of folks talk about TurboTax. TurboTax is a pretty well-known name when it comes to tax preparation. So into this conversation, we want to go a little granular here. So this is the overview I want you to pay attention to. So when you think about TurboTax, first of all, I want you to think about a product that's part of the Intuit sort of a family of products. And so TurboTax is one of the most popular tax programs available, and our number one or number two pick for the best tax software for this year. Okay, so it's been in the last 5 years in our top five products, and initially founded in the mid 1980s, TurboTax actually has since grown to become a market leader in the tax industry, and it's actually owned by Intuit, as I just said. And so when you think about Intuit, I want you to think about QuickBooks. I want you to think about MailChimp also. And TurboTax is best known for its clean and very easy user interface. And the program functions like an interview. So it walks you through a series of questions about your life and income to determine the appropriate choices that you actually could qualify for, and while also looking for deductions. And it has a number of different products available to suit different users' needs. And while it does have a free edition, not all taxpayers qualify, and you probably will not qualify if you make a certain level of income. And the free version of TurboTax is for simple tax returns only, very, very simple. And most users end up purchasing TurboTax Deluxe, which at it's about 75 to 80 bucks, is the most expensive option compared to similar offerings from the other companies we have profiled, like Tax Act, TaxSlayer, or even Free Tax USA. So the bottom line here is that when you think about TurboTax, I want you to think about outstanding user experience, thorough, friendly interview Q&A, a tool that covers the tax topics in exceptional depth, personalized explanations of tax calculations, excellent help resources and virtual support options, and great mobile apps. And also, so TurboTax is really best for an easy to follow tax preparation experience, quickly and easily importing tax documents and various levels of tax preparation assistance. It's not really recommended for those on a tight budget, in-person tax preparation assistance, or S-Corp owners looking for fully online tax preparation. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation schedules within TurboTax. This is really fantastic. So we love that a lot. And basically, you have a comprehensive navigational outline. So when you think about the TurboTax family of tax preparation software tools, you have to think about at least 30 years, 35 years. Okay. And so basically the thing is that, so you have quality there, you have reputation, you have great reputation, and you have validation from consumers. And the thing is that TurboTax is not cheap. As I said before, you got to really account for, like, you have to really shell out probably 60 to 75, in some cases, 80 bucks at least when it comes to filing taxes with TurboTax. And what I want to say here is that you have to decide whether you want to go with TurboTax Online or you want to go with TurboTax Live, because there is a product called TurboTax Live, and this is basically, it's a slightly different animal, and because basically you are able to connect with a tax expert via chat or video call, and the help agent can see your computer screen with your tax return details if you allow it, but they can't see you. And you can communicate with these professionals all year long, so they can help you with tax planning during the off season. And so the live edition of TurboTax comes actually in 8 tiers, though they are split into 2 major groups. So you have TurboTax Live Assisted, and then you have the Live Full Service. So which one you choose depends on what types of forms you need to file and how much help you need. Okay. And it's one of those things where you have to really see exactly where you are at and what kind of help TurboTax can really bring to your situation. One thing I want to say here is that what we have seen in our research is that most folks end up going they end up choosing TurboTax Live Assisted Self-Employed, basically because if you're self-employed, you got to really think about maybe filing estimated quarterly taxes. You got to think about self-employment taxes. So there are a lot of things. So this service is kind of suitable for those who are self-employed. At least that's what we have seen in our research for the last 5 to 6 years. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about TurboTax. This is an in-depth TurboTax review. Let's talk about usage here. So I want to really focus on UX and UI. So user experience and user interface. So is TurboTax safe to use? Yes, you bet. I mean, they've been in the industry for 30, 35 years, so they really have been doing something something great. On top of that, they are actually they're a subsidiary of a major conglomerate, Intuit. So TurboTax security specialists work with the IRS and state revenue department to prevent fraud. And so this dedicated staff is constantly monitoring the site and performing internal checks and external checks. And so stored data is always encrypted, as it is your return when it's transmitted to the IRS and state agencies. And actually, the site supports multi-factor authentication, so MFA, and fingerprint unlocking for the mobile app. So you can see a history of your logins and the devices used to access your account, and you are always notified of any unusual activity on your account, like a password change, payment method update, or login from a new device. So this is kind of cool. Now, when we talk about the DIY TurboTax, it works in a very simple way. So basically, all you have to do, you basically will download. You have to sign up. They'll ask you a few questions to really, like a few questions to sort of set up your profile, and then you're good to go. Okay. And the thing I want to say here is that when I say good to go, you are basically covering all kinds of IRS forms, all kinds of IRS instructions. You'll get so TurboTax will link you to IRS instructions, but what the cool thing is that it will also break it down for you when it comes to very complex topics. Okay, things like deferred tax assets or deferred tax liabilities or alternative minimum tax, this kind of stuff. Or if you if you have a question on Schedule C. And the thing is that what we love about TurboTax here is that basically you are able to once you create an account and if you're signing with an existing one, the website helps you select the correct tier of service for this year's taxes. So it will display several life situations such as owning a home, having children, selling stocks, paying off student loans, and so on and so forth. So what happened here is that based on your answers, the website will recommend the most appropriate addition of TurboTax for you. And so this is really good, and it does so in a very streamlined fashion. I want to talk about the user experience. The thing is that what is TurboTax's user experience? Well, TurboTax has an exceptional user experience, okay? And so they have actually pared down its user experience considerably over the years. It has an appealing look and provides easy access to the tools you need for the most part. So you have a vertical navigation bar on the left that divides the site into My Info, Federal, State, Review, and File. It also has links to other tax tools, including an outline of the site's content and a searchable alphabetical list of tax forms and schedules. This is kind of cool because if you have quote unquote a convoluted tax return, at least you have a clear idea where to actually go to get the forms that you need. And so here, like when you are on the navigation page, you can flag a page if you want to remember if you want to remember it for later, much as you can actually in Tax Act or H&R Block. So this is kind of cool. So it's one of those things where you want to really familiarize yourself with those tools if you intend to use TurboTax this year. And so the TurboTax, the interview Q&A wizard works in a very, very streamlined and simplistic way. It's very simple. It's question and answer. And they used to have, back in the days, they used to have multiple questions on one page. Now they only have one question. And once you give the answer, then it really links you to the next one. Okay. And the cool thing is, at any time, if you have any question, you are always able to reach out to a TurboTax specialist via either by phone or via live chat or via email. There's always an opportunity to actually link up with TurboTax specialist. And TurboTax actually looks for errors all the time. So the final review examines your return for accuracy. If the software finds any errors, it helps you correct them by taking you directly to the problematic fields and letting you change them, then taking you back to the review page. And this is kind of cool. And what we have seen is that other sites do not always work as smoothly. So TurboTax Self-Employed also transfers pertinent data into your state returns and tells you about any additional entries you need to make there. And the final step is to pay and e-file your taxes. So this is kind of straightforward. And we love that a lot. So the self-employed section works in a very streamlined fashion, and you can also file your taxes from your phone also. This is totally possible, not a problem. So you have the flexibility there as well. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about TurboTax. So this is a TurboTax in-depth review. Let's talk a little bit about the option, the support options that you have within TurboTax. So basically, you have three main types of guidance. So you have general guidance. So you have a searchable knowledge base, forums, calculators, and video tutorials. Those are really helpful for research on the fly. So if you don't have time, this is kind of cool. Then you have tax support. So TurboTax Digital Assistant, which is a chatbot, and contact form are available for all. Paid packages get access to a TurboTax specialist, and TurboTax also has an online support page that covers basic questions taxpayers may have about the product or their return, as well as a community forum. So this is actually the third part I wanted to talk to you about, the community forum. So TurboTax has a huge base of users, so you can actually reach out to anybody on the forum and actually ask questions. The thing is that if you're audited, basically, TurboTax is there for you. They have a service that can really help you out. As a matter of fact, they give everyone free audit support from a tax pro to help them understand what's going on if they get that dreaded letter about their tax return. And if TurboTax cannot connect you with the pro, you'll get a refund. If you want someone to represent you in front of the IRS, you will need a TurboTax's audit defense product called Max. And it runs an extra $49 to $75 and includes features such as identity theft monitoring, loss insurance, and restoration help. Okay. And if you're getting a refund, this is kind of cool. You're able to direct TurboTax to either direct deposit it to a bank account, transfer it to your Credit Karma money spend account. I mean, now they have actually sold Credit Karma to Cash App, so it's a different product. But you can also directly deposit it to a coin-based account. You can have a paper check. You can apply the refund to next year taxes. So all kinds of possibilities here. Okay, so the bottom line here is that you really have options when it comes to TurboTax, especially when it comes to pricing. I'll speak about pricing in the next section. So let's talk about pricing here. So when you think about TurboTax, you have all kinds of pricing services. So you have what they call, you can see on the screen here, they have TurboTax DIY, so do your own taxes. So this is basically you're paying this year you're paying maximum $89, and you have the assisted, the live assisted, and then the full service. The live assisted, that's what I was just telling you earlier. Basically, you get access to all kinds of experts throughout the year. And so when you think about TurboTax in general, when we talk about the DIY, you have the free edition, you have the deluxe, the premier, and the self-employed. So when we talk about the free edition is free for federal and state returns as long as you make a certain level of income rather. If you make income below a certain level, this is really fine. This is just fantastic. Now, it's really important to understand that the return has to be really simple, though, really simple. So this will involve reporting just W-2 income and limited interest or dividend income reported on a 1099 INT or 1099 div, okay, and claiming the standard deduction. If you are going to itemize, you are going to pay for you are going to upgrade here. The premier is actually the deluxe, and the premier are actually better if you, let's say, if you want to itemize deductions, yeah. The premier is actually great if you own rental property, if you own, let's say, if you own stocks, if you want bonds, if you want to include bonds, ESPPs, cryptocurrencies, all that kind of stuff. The self-employed, as the name implies, is for self-employed individuals, and this is actually will give you all the elements you need when it comes to filing quarterly taxes, self-employment taxes, and so on and so forth. So you also have the live, so that's the DIY. Then you have the live assisted, as I just showed you, basically, and then you have the live, like the full service. Full service, it means everything, okay? Bottom line here is you got to ask yourself, do I really need live assisted? Do I really need full service? It's one of those things where you have to really pay attention to what you want. Full service allows you to upload your documents and have a tax expert from TurboTax prepare and file your taxes for you. And process vary depending on your return. I mean, the complexity, the depth and breadth of your return. So big question is, let's talk about the rivals here. So when we talk about TurboTax, obviously TurboTax is not the only player in this industry. So you have let's compare and contrast TurboTax versus two players. We have TaxSlayer, and then we have H&R Block. So the thing is that when you think about TurboTax and TaxSlayer, those two offer similar tax preparation services. Both include several options for taxpayers to consider depending on their tax situation. For example, TurboTax has a free edition along with three paid tiers that cost from $69 all the way to $150. The free edition is for simple tax returns only, as I just told you a few minutes ago. Not all taxpayers qualify. And now, when you talk about TaxSlayer, basically they charge $29 to $35 for their classic version, and then they go all the way to $60 to $75. Now, there is also a free version of the software that's just for active duty military service members. Okay, so if you're looking for a tax expert to help you file, both TurboTax and TaxSlayer provide professional tax advisors along with their software for an additional cost, of course. But however, between the two products, in our view, TaxSlayer will save you more money. And if you want the best interface and can spare a bit more in your budget, choose TurboTax. What about TurboTax versus H&R Block? Well, H&R Block is the primary TurboTax competitor. It goes head-to-head with a comparable set of tax software options that cover the typical needs of most tax filings. There are a few key differences worth noting. TurboTax is best for switching to get help from an online expert, while H&R Block relies on its extensive network of branches for an upgrade option. If you want to switch to get help from an expert, you can upgrade your tax experience to go in person to a local H&R Block location. And H&R Block also offers an online or phone meeting option if you prefer that to face-to-face. So cost and personal preferences are the most significant differences between these two tax services. Regardless of which service you choose, you should wind up with extremely similar results. And so the thing is that now, what is our verdict? Is TurboTax the way to go this year? Our answer is totally yes. I mean, TurboTax is totally, it's a top quality sort of software tool in this industry this year, and it has been for the last 30 years. And so we will strongly recommend it. TurboTax is legit. TurboTax is not a scam. It is a legit company. It is safe. You can use them as long as you are willing to spend a little bit of cash in your budget. Okay, it is not cheap, so you just be aware of that. Even if you were to file the free edition, you still will have to actually make an extremely low level of income this year. And I'm not even talking about you'll be stuck with only the standard deduction. You will not be able to itemize at all. So it is what it is. But hey, listen, we definitely recommend it. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about TurboTax. So this was a TurboTax review. So let me quickly recap here. So I give you the overview, the specs, the usage, the UX, the pricing, and the rivals. And finally, here is a recap. Thank you. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.